Hello students, good morning and how are you today? I trust you had a very good time in your spring break and I know that you're keeping yourself very safe as you're in the house. Make sure that you're always safe and make sure that you always wash your hands all the time. Well, I've missed you. I've missed having a math lesson, and I know you also miss having math lesson, but still we can study. So get your math book, get everything you need together. I know you would have done that, but maybe there's something you didn't remember to pick. So go ahead and pick it now. Your math notebook, workbook, student book, your writing materials, because we will need to pay attention and write if you have to, and then we'll start the lesson. So I'll give you just some 30 seconds to do that. Go ahead and get your maths book. You can make it faster. Hurry up, I'll wait for you. Okay, it's almost 30 seconds and we have to start the class now. All right, now look at the screen and see we have some items on the screen. I know you're wondering, what are we learning? Is it math? Is it science? Well, it's Miss Dolapo speaking, so we're having math lesson. Good morning once again, year 5. Now we have some items here. What do you think? What comes to your mind when you see all of these items? I have some tape measures, rulers just scattered around. I have a kettle. I know you'll find this kettle in your kitchen if you check. I have a scale as well for measuring. That's a measuring scale. And if you look at the kettle, it has some numbers on it. So what do you think? There's some fruits on the measuring scale, and it's, pointing. The arrow is actually pointing towards a direction if you read the scale. So what exactly do you think we're talking about? All right, yes, I think you must have guessed right. But then let's confirm from the next slide. Okay, yes, we're reviewing units of length, mass, and volume. I know you would have said measuring. Yes, well, you're still correct. We want to look again at the units of length, mass, and volume. I know in the previous classes, year 4 and probably year 3, you've learned how to measure. So we'll just have a review on all of this. Okay, your student book will open to page 194 to 197, and our workbook, of course, is the homework you will do. It's from page 179 to page 186. So let's go ahead. Now today we have to learn how to identify the most suitable units to measure length, mass, and volume. You know, length is different from mass, and it's also different from volume. We can say volume is capacity. In the course of a lesson, I'll tell you how it relates to capacity. We can also call volume capacity. So if I say capacity, I mean the same thing as volume. Okay, now we also must be able to learn how to convert from one unit of measurement to another. We have units of length, like I said the other time, units of mass, and units of volume. So how do we convert from one to another? I'm sure at the end of the lesson, you'll be able to do so. So let's see what we have next. Lengths. Let's talk about lengths first, okay? 3 things, remember, we're talking about today. We're talking about lengths, we're talking about mass, and we're talking about volume or capacity. Let's look at lengths first. Now, when do we measure in lengths? When do we have to measure in length? Why don't we say mass when we're measuring in length? I would explain that to you. Now, when you want to know how tall a thing is or how long a thing is, just like you can see in the picture here, it's saying, when do we measure in length? And the next thing in the arrow says, how tall or long is the pencil? The boy is holding up the pencil. So when you want to know the height of a thing, you want to know how tall or how long a thing is, you can measure in length. Okay? Now, there are also different units for measuring length. Okay, so like the pencil, for example, can be measured in a particular unit of length. We have 4 units of length. They are millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. For you to be able to memorize easily, I shorten them as with an acronym MCMK. MCMK: millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometers. Now we cannot measure the length of a pencil with kilometers, for example. That's why we're asking, how do we measure length? Which one is more suitable? Tiny objects like your fingernail can be measured in millimeters. For pencils, you can measure it in centimeters. A ruler can be used to measure in centimeters. And of course, you can measure your pencil with your ruler. So you can measure in centimeters. What about meters? The picture that is the meters is pointing towards is something like a large tunnel. Okay, now meters is for larger objects, like maybe the tree in front of your house. You want to measure a bus, the length of your daddy's car or your mommy's car, you can measure those ones in meters. Or the length of a football field, the length of the playground, it's measured in meters. Now the only different one is kilometers. Kilometers is used to measure roads and the distance between one place to another. Now remember, all these are units of length. We measure length in 4 units: millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. And we can equally convert them. We can convert from one unit of length to another. Like if my pencil is 5 centimeters, I can convert it to millimeters. Or I can convert the units to millimeters. I can equally try to convert the units from centimeters to meters. So we have the conversion of length. How do you convert length? Or the chart. Let's call it the chart. The conversion length or the conversion chart for lengths. Okay, so 10 millimeters make 1 centimeter, 100 centimeters make 1 meter, and 1,000 meters make 1 kilometer. Okay, now let's go to the next. We have mass review. Let's look at mass. When we are talking about mass, what do we measure in mass? Now, we measure how heavy or light a thing is. Is the book heavy? If you have a pack of books and you want to measure how heavy it is, that's when we talk about mass. Or you buy some fruits in the market. Remember when you go to Lulu or you go to the hypermarkets close to your homes, and then you pick up some fruits. You take it to the scale and somebody measures and puts a sticker of the weight on it. Okay, so mass is usually used in measuring the weight of a thing, how heavy it is. Okay, now how do we measure mass? We cannot measure mass in kilometers or in meters or centimeters or millimeters like we said in the previous slide, but we measure mass in grams and kilograms. So you can easily say how many grams is the fruits or how many kilograms is the watermelon. Okay, so we can measure weight with mass. What about how to convert mass? We convert with from kilograms to grams or grams to kilograms. So this time around we have just 2. 1,000 grams make 1 kilogram. Now let's see the next one.